What's up, guys? Today I waited to come out here to shoot this video because it was raining and I thought that the heavier part of the rainstorm was coming through this afternoon. Unfortunately, we have a break in the clouds, so no rain, but that's not going to hurt the content of this video, which is one stick in it. When I say one stick in it, I am referring to taking a piece of wood and breaking it down and getting inside that wood. No matter how wet, how miserable it is out here, inside that dead standing wood is always going to be dry, so it's a great resource for us to know how to use. What you're preferably looking for is either something that fell down or is dead standing, nothing that's laying on the ground. It just absorbs too much moisture. Of course, everything out here is wet, but what we're looking for is the inside. So I found this down tree here. Best thing we can do is either chop into it, break it, or snap the piece of wood and see. You want to just make sure when you do this that the wood's not rotted. If it's rotted, this technique is not going to work. You can see there that we have a winner. So this is a dry piece of wood. What I'm really looking for when I do this technique to start a fire is just to create tinder and kindling with this. First thing we're going to do is split this out because we need to get inside this piece of wood. It looks really nice and dry. What you want to do from this point is get something dry. So I'm going to use my haversack. If it was raining out, I would use the inside of my haversack, or I would flip it that I can keep the wood inside there, because we don't want anything to get wet. We need to imagine, again, the rain didn't cooperate, but everything still is wet out here. I don't want to be laying my dry material down on the ground. All that I'm going to do at this point is begin to split down our material into manageable size pieces. Just think about small, medium, large material, and that's all that you need to do. So we're making a fire lay out of a piece of wood at this point. Now you should be able to see here different sizes I'm starting to create. So I'm creating some very small material here. Whole nice pile of that, and then some material that I would start to say we're starting to get borderline large for exactly what we're doing, but you want to make 3 different sizes, and I didn't even get into the rest of this yet. Now we've created all our different size material. For training purposes, you want to create all of this wood into your piles. For application in the field, you really want to focus on making this small stuff. So anything from toothpick size up to about number 2 pencil. That's really what you're looking for the most. Other than that is what we're going to do right now, and that's make shavings. The most important part when we begin to create shavings is that they are going to be paper thin, and we are going to need to protect them as much as we can from any type of moisture or rain. Now, if it was raining, I would do this again, and as I carve them, slide them into my haversack, because you really want to protect this stuff. But since we don't have any rain, I can just lay the top of my haversack over this log that I've been working on, take out my knife, and begin to carve shavings. There's 2 schools of thought when it comes to shavings. Number 1 is to create a shaving. Just run your knife down the piece of wood and shave it off onto something. Don't worry about keeping it on the stick. Second school of thought is feather sticks. Now, feather sticks, if you don't know what that is shaving wood off a stick, but when you get to the bottom, letting it on. So it creates all of those shavings on the end of a stick. If you want to know more detail about both of those and my opinion around them, head over to my website. You could check that out on my blog page. I wrote that blog about a year ago. What I'm going to tell you, though, majority of the time is I tell people to make shavings because they're more efficient with them. Feather sticks are a little bit of an art. They're great to practice, but for in the field and application, it's so much quicker to just run your knife down a piece of wood and not worry about making it look pretty and just gathering up all of those thin shavings. So that's what we're going to do now. And this is actually creating our tinder. And if we carve this correctly and we carve these shavings nice and thin and we get enough of them, our ferrocerium rod will ignite these. One tip to make nice feathers is to keep the tip of your blade up and make a slicing motion from the back side here up to the top. So when we set our knife in there, we're starting down at the bottom and we're sliding our knife across. You can see them fine shavings coming off of there then. And that's really what's important, is to do it just like that. We're gonna put down the wood that we didn't process out yet. You can see I have a handful of shavings. If this was a more dire type situation, we would want to have more of those shavings. And I still have some of the fine stuff on my haversack that I have laying back here at this point. I just don't want these things to blow away because the wind's starting to pick up. I think the rain's gonna come in again. So we're just gonna pile these up. Now we wanna get this ignited with our ferro rod. We can scrape some material in or just start to strike into it and get that going. Once that gets going, I'm gonna get my medium-sized material and start to place this over gently just because I'm in a bad location here when it comes to working on top of a log. So all this thin stuff, I'm just gonna lay this on here and allow that some time now to burn. And we should have ourselves a sustainable fire at this point. I could put this larger stuff on as this burns, and you could see what I'm doing here is just creating a fire lay with a piece of wood. That's all we're really doing. The key to this that I really wanted to get across to everyone was in very bad environments, in bad weather, you can use the inside of any dead standing tree or downed tree, as long as it's not rotted, to sustain a fire instead of having to find another alternate tinder source. So we're gonna just let this burn a little bit and keep on chugging there, and we'll have ourselves a fire on top of this log. Now, of course, you'd want to do this down on the ground, but for demonstration purposes, I'm just working with it up here on this log. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is a great training tool for new people getting into this. For advanced guys, use your axe, use a piece of oak. Just make it more difficult. Go out in the rain and do it. It's gonna help everybody, so try it out. But it's also gonna help you when you're in the field and you can't find anything that is dry for a tinder source. You have the inside of wood, you make your shavings, and you have it going. So this was Dan Wolak with Coalcracker Bushcraft. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, check us out over at coalcrackerbushcraft.com. And until the next video, stay in the woods, guys.